Hello and welcome back to another episode of FTB Sky Factory 2.5. My name is Twin Minds, and I have some surprise guests. So, previously when I built this little bitty pasture, I got nothing after hours of waiting. But after I went away for a little bit to just kind of AFK and came back and found these guys sitting here waiting for me. There's a chicken with a chest on his head. Apparently my previous thing was just not big enough, and once it got big enough, stuff started spawning like crazy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and cherry pick some stuff that I want to keep with the safari gnats, and then kill off the rest because they just kind of get in the way and get annoying. I'm going to start off with this chicken here because he's outside and he shouldn't be outside. Bye, chicken. Alright, so let's see. First off, I do kind of want the horse, because it's a horse and I haven't had one of those quite yet. I don't know if I need the chickens, but it would be kind of handy to have. Pig, I shall keep. Cow, I don't need. And in fact, I don't think I need the chickens either, because if worse comes to worse, I can use the chicken outside. That's not where chicken goes. There we go. I can use the baits to get more if necessary. So I think I'll just do away with the easy ones. That's an inflatable giraffe thing. That's adorable. And now it's mine. Alright, now this last one I see here. Molten Mana Infused Metal. So this is a new mod. I've only played with it once before, called Moo Fluids. And what it does is it takes a regular old cow, and instead of milking it, the liquid that you get out is one of the liquids in the game. And most of those tend to be molten metals of sorts. So that's what this cow is. So I'm going to take him. And I've got a fluid cow. Unfortunately, you can't see what type of fluid it is, so sometimes it becomes tricky figuring out which ones you've got. But that part's fine. I do know that one of the items in the quest book is to milk liquid cows for some purpose. I didn't read it too terribly closely, but I will need more of those, so hopefully some more will spawn and ones that I will need. Otherwise, they might just be random liquids. I know that you can get things like a lava cow. Imagine milking lava out of a cow, but that's what that mod is. You can milk various liquids out of cows. So that will go stored away somewhere. Let's, I guess, put them in here for now. And then I'll put away all of my animal droppings. And get back to business. So, when we last left off, I had no mana. Like none whatsoever. Now, you'll notice my flowers are gone. I did not end up making more. I ended up just sitting AFK, which is why those critters appeared. And I got some mana, as you can see the blue there. And it was enough to get some of the mana powder. Now the reason those are gone is the passive mana generation. In this case, the solar or the darkness. They made a change to the mod somewhat recently so that the passive mana generation flowers will decay after a while. So after X amount of time, I don't know the time offhand, they will disappear. Now they don't always disappear, sometimes they turn into like a dead bush type item. But ultimately they die. Because passive generation was kind of a cheaty method of always having enough mana without using some of the more unique methods. So they implemented that, and it was a bit of a pain to get used to and deal with, but ultimately it does enforce you using some of the different methods. So I'm kind of okay with that. So let's start with one of those different methods and start by making some of the flowers that we need. So this goes back to the endoflame that I was planning on. 2 brown, light gray, red, mana powder. And now it's ready for seed. And I get my meltdown achievement. So let's do another one of those, because that's all the brown petals I have at the time. So now I have 2 of these endoflames. Now, previously, you saw me linking the other flowers to this mana spreader. That's only because I placed it down after the flowers were placed. If a mana spreader is out when you place down a flower, it automatically links to whichever mana spreader is closest. So you don't always have to link them. So now those are down, and now we need to feed them. So let's get something to feed them. I believe coal. No. I don't remember where I put all of my stuff anymore. So let's grab some coal. There we go. I'll grab some coal. I know you're supposed to be generally a little bit more careful on a skyblock so you don't go falling to your death, but I've kind of memorized my path at this point. So if you throw down the item, it should grab it like so. And then it starts generating mana. It doesn't look like much, but it automatically feeds all of it into the spreader, like so. You can see that green bar moving up, and then it disappears. Once it reaches a little bit less than a quarter full, it will then pump it into the mana pool. Now that blue bar, very, very tiny blue bar on the far left of this bar, is the mana level. It's not moving, despite this thing moving, because this has a much higher volume. So that's 1 pixel of movement is not going to move for quite some time until I get enough mana. So these things burn for, I believe, the entire duration that it would normally burn in the furnace, although I'm not positive. So now I need to feed them. Now I probably will end up feeding them manually for a while, just because I want that one item, but ultimately I can automate that. And I have in the past, and I probably will again. Ultimately what I'm looking for, though, is the next tier of material from Botania, called Mana Steel. And it looks like I've got a green check there, so if I throw it down with the Q again, it pops out, and I get my Mana Steel. So now I've got an X, because that means I don't have enough mana to do it. So if I throw it down, it doesn't do anything. So now I need to get more mana. So that will be my next task, is getting more mana. I might just go off camera here and feed these for a while to get some mana, because I really, really want that next item. But let's take a look at what other flowers we've got available. So we've got the Pure Daisy, which is obviously the one that I use to get the Living Rock and Living Wood. Daybloom and Nightshade are the two that passively generate, but then they die. This is the Endoflame that I just built. This is the Hydrangea. It's a real flower that they've modified the name of slightly. This is the one that eats water, and this is the one that eats lava. Now, you see this one is passive, whereas this one is not passive. That is because lava is a little bit more harder to come by, so if you are generating enough lava to feed this thing, then it was considered good enough to not be passive and not need to die. So if I build this hydrangea, it will work for a while, but then it will die. But I do know that it produces mana fairly effectively. Cyan and blue. So I may build one of these, but I may build it elsewhere, because the setup that I want to do is, I believe it is 5 by 5 in space, which I could potentially fit right here, but it'd be really tight fit, and it wouldn't look good, but you know, it might be a temporary build anyway. Alright, I have all I need here. So first off, let's build the hydrangeas. I've got my petals here. It is 2 of the blue, 2 of the cyan, powder, and the seeds. I'll do that one more time with another bucket. Petal, 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 powder, seed. Alright. So I only had enough to make 2 of them at the moment, which is fine. I will make more later. Now with these two, I have this little thing set up here. So what I've got is my mana pool here, where the mana will end up. I've got my spreader floating lovely in the air there, pointed directly at it. And then I've got this little pool of water here. Now, in this 3x3 grid, the water is endless from whichever block you pull it from. Because normally 2 water blocks, one space apart, will fill up the middle space every single time you pull out that middle block of water. So same happens with the corners, one here, this one refills. So if I put these hydrangeas down, one there, and one there, they will drink this block of water, and then they will fill up with mana. You can kind of see a little bit of a particle there, and I can kind of hear it going. It's very, very faint, but they make a little bitty slurping noise. So if you take the wand of the forest and right-click on these things, you'll see them filling up. Now it's not the fastest, and I'll probably add some other methods here, but it's a start. And if I got all 4 of them going, it would definitely be a thing. So let me grab a little bit more dust of some kind. I think gunpowder is the one that I have far too much of. So I've got my gunpowder. And let's see if I have enough mana yet to make more powder, which then it gives me 2 more of the hydrangeas. I do have enough. 1, 2. Alright. Barely had enough, but I had it. So let's make 2 more. I'm going to grab a bucket of water there. Petal, 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 powder, seed. And then 1 more. So if I take these and plop them in the empty corners, then my mana is going that much faster. Doesn't seem like much, but it is moving. Now let's see if these can take gunpowder. Does not look like it. Alright, so I'll have to grab some coal. Actually, I have a better solution. I have coal coke that I cooked up earlier. What a perfect time for that stuff. Now this stuff burns twice as long as coal, so I will get twice as much mana out of it. 1 there, and 1 there. Good. Now those 2 are cooking up and speeding up my mana production even more. I did link them. Yes, I did. Okay, I wasn't quite sure there, but I did link them, and these are linked automatically because I put them down after the spreader. So this is my mana production. It's going pretty well. It's going pretty well. You can see that the particle is shooting along quite fast there. The particle distance is a concern with Botania. The particle can only go, I think it's 15 blocks before it starts losing mana during its travels. So the closer you can do all of your mana transport, the better. Now, if I were to have this mana spreader directly up against the mana pool, it would traverse that distance instantly because it would be right next to it. So if you're producing a lot of mana, having the spreader directly next to the mana pool is good because it doesn't have to wait for that beam to hit before it shoots another beam. Because right now it's doing 1 beam every second or so, roughly. As it has to wait for that beam to leave the spreader and make it to the mana pool before it will shoot another beam. So that's why you want to have it really close whenever you can. But for right now, this will be just fine because I'm not in any dire hurry for mana. But if I keep feeding these, I will keep getting more mana. Oops, I just picked that one up instead. There we go. It still does not look like it's going fast enough, but it is gathering mana. Let's see, I've got my iron here. Do I have enough yet? I do. Ooh. I had enough for 4. That's quite handy, which means I might be able to get this done quicker. I might have to find something else to do for the rest of this episode. I have some things I could probably do if I need to. Now, you notice those are not picking up yet, because the endoflames will not grab something else until they're done burning the previous thing. So those items will just sit there and float until they're ready to be picked up. And that's actually how you can do some of the automation, using pressure plates, where the item will sit on the pressure plate, which sends out a redstone signal to stop another item from popping out until it's ready to go. So that's how the automation on these is typically accomplished, although there are other methods which could be done. So these things cook for quite some time. And those items are just floating there. So yeah, these coal coke do have quite a bit of a burn time. And there we go, it picked up one. And there's the other one. Perfect. So let's see. Ooh, so close. So close. Let me pause for just a moment here, and I will get together the other stuff that I need for the item that's coming. All ready to go. I just need to make this one final thing. And I miss it. What a start. I love it. So let's get that going again. Now I have my 8. Notice I dropped that from the inventory. It works just fine as long as the item lands on the mana pool. So let's make the thing. I need to make this first, which is the mana lens. Now these lenses, once you actually build a useful lens, the lens can actually go on the front of the mana spreader to concentrate the beam in different ways. So that is something that could be done, which I don't know. I do it sometimes, but not always. The next thing is the magnetizing lens. This lens actually picks up items. So as the beam travels, if there are any items along its path, it will actually pick them up and push them this direction. So you can actually use that to move items. There are some interesting builds that you could do with that. I always have a hard time figuring that one out, but it is an option. This goes here to make the ring of magnetization. The ring, when right-clicked, goes into your bubbles slot. Bubbles is a thing added by, I believe it's Tinkers. Same the mod with these tools. I think it's Tinkers. It might be Botania that actually made this. But the ring slots are available to put items in, and a necklace slot here as well as a belt slot. So it adds a few more slots to go along with your armor slots. So this ring, when slotted, actually picks up items that you throw, like so. Now, it's taking a little bit of a delay there because I'm throwing the item. The magnet knows that I threw that item, so it's giving it a moment to land somewhere in case I threw it intentionally. But if I were to break something, sure, let's break this. It actually shows up immediately and is ready to go. So that's why that is really handy on a skyblock, because I don't like things falling off the edge into the void and disappearing forever, which has happened a few times, much to my dismay. So I would rather not lose items where possible. So this ring of magnetization works much like the vacuum hopper in that it pulls things to me rather than having them just drop wherever they happen to break. So that is just a tiny little thing, but it's a really important thing so I don't lose stuff. I don't want to lose stuff. For example, if I were to break one of these lanterns, they might fall towards me, would be fine, but they might fall the opposite direction out into the void where I can't reach them and they disappear forever. So then I would have to make more of them. So that's why I did that, and that's why I wanted to rush towards the beginnings of Botania. Now, Botania has a lot of other stuff to offer. As you can see here, there's 6 pages of items, lots of flowers, lots of useful stuff going on. This one, for example, the Fallen Khanate, it's hard to say for sure. This one, when provided mana, will actually provide regen, so it will heal me quickly. It's a very handy one to have, say for example at the door of the Nether, where you come back from fighting a lot. You might want a quick regen, something like that. So there's a lot of useful stuff in here. There's multiple levels of metal. You've got mana steel, terra steel, and elementium, all of which take various levels of effort to get. Mana steel, you saw, was not terribly difficult, but did have a little bit of setup required. Terra steel has a whole another requirement, which is a lot of mana behind it. And then elementium, that one is even more interesting. So we'll get to there eventually, because I will need it. Because that elementium is kind of the beginning of the end, I suppose, of Botania, where there's a boss battle at the end. They added a boss battle into this mod, so it's really nifty, really nifty. I'll have to get to that eventually. This flower, for example, it says all your magnets are belong to us. This one actually disables the magnet ring that I just made, in case you've got a build that involves items falling into the world before you use them. So, for example, breaking logs automatically and having them fall before they're picked up. You don't want your ring getting in the way and picking those up before they can be picked up by your automation. So it's handy to turn this off sometimes, and that's why there's a flower for that. So Botania will be a thing, quite a bit of a thing, because I'll be doing a lot of that. Because the book, which actually let's go back to, the book has some endgame goals for Botania. So first off, I did craft Petal Apothecary, and I did actually get the 64 living wood and living rock. Haha, Shia LaBeouf. Alright, I might do that in just a moment here. I did craft a mana pool and a mana spreader, and a wand of the forest. Portal to the Elfheim. That's one of the interesting bits. That's how you get your elementium. You open up a portal to another dimension, but you can't go through. Only items can go through. So that's, you throw items in, and the elves on the other end of the portal throw items back at you in exchange. Automated flower farm I'll have to do later. So the mastery section is where they give you challenges that are a little bit more up and up. Automate a pure daisy with only Botania and vanilla mechanics. I don't even know how to do that yet. I'm actually going to have to look that one up. Craft and fill a Terra Steel mana ring. Terra Steel mana ring is a ring that stores mana on you for using some of the tools that are available in Botania. And filling a Terra Steel mana ring is a lot of mana. So that's why that's one of the mastery items. Ritual of Gaia, that's what actually summons the boss. So that's why I will be doing a lot of Botania, because it's asking me to, so I'm going to do it. Thaumcraft is another one that has a mastery level, which is some stuff that I've never done before, so that will be interesting. Thaumcraft we'll have to cover in a little bit here, but I'm not ready to tackle that one yet. That's a lot to go on. So let me figure out what's next. I know one thing I need to do is feed a little bit more power into this. I had let this run while I was doing Botania, and I had 0 power by the time I was done. So I need more power generation, and I think I know how to do that. So let's see about getting that done right now. Alright, I think I have everything I need to get started with power production, or continue power production, I guess. I grabbed the dynamo and quite a bit of stuff that I need. I need most of this, so let's get started with that. I did grab another leadstone energy cell to act as a buffer, or sorry, hardened energy cell to act as a buffer, because it's difficult to do the wiring the way I want it without a little bit of complication. So the first thing I need to do is place down these pressurized fluid conduits. These help liquids go up, so I don't have to worry about that. I'm putting those right there, and then I'm going to climb so I can get up here. And then the dynamo is going down here. and then the energy conduit will go here. And I'm actually planning on putting 2 more here, and hopefully these 2 coke ovens will be able to keep up with 2 of them, or 3 of them total. This energy conduit is then going to connect to this invar thing here. Make sure that the back is set to receive energy, which it is. And then I need to give it the gunpowder. And then I need to set these to extract. I think I only need to do 1 extract on either side. Like so. You see the color changed, and it is feeding creosote oil into here, and it is burning. So if we look up here, we are getting power. Wonderful. So now that this is getting power, I need to get back up there. And I need to set this to output on that side, perhaps? Yeah, that side will do. So that side will do just fine for now. And then I need to build some things. So we're building powered transmission through immersive engineering. And to do that, we need some creosote oil that we had previously, which makes the treated wood planks. And then the treated wood is going to turn into treated sticks. I think I need all of them, but let's do that. And then I'm making treated wood fence. And then from that, I'll be using the bricks and the treated wood fence to make these extendable wooden posts. I need 4 of those and 6 wooden fence. Alright, and then the next thing I need is a stick and some electrum to make the MV wire coil. Now MV is medium voltage. This pack does have low, medium, and high voltage, but there isn't too terribly much need to start at low. Because it's not terribly useful. It has its place, but it's just barely a little bit cheaper to start at medium voltage. High voltage, however, has a bit of a infrastructure requirement, so I'm not going to go there. Now the other thing that I need is, let's go with 4 of these, and iron ingots in the middle, to make the MV wire connectors. Now this is how you connect your wires to the devices that give or receive power. So I think that covers it. If I need more, I can always come back and build more stuff. So what I'm going to do is place these here. I think I want them about here. Yeah, and then here. I only need these 2 at the moment, but I'm going to move power around, which is why I built more of these. And then these are going to go here. Now you right click there, and it adds it there. And then you keep right clicking and it keeps extending. So I think I want it 3 high. So it is 4 high total, including the post block. And then what you do is you right click with the hammer to make a little extension there on both sides. And then you take these wire connectors and plop them down like so, and it will automatically move to connect, so it looks okay. Now the other thing that I need to do is go back over here and connect one to the side. Do I want that on the side, or do I want it on the front so it looks like it connects fine? You know what? Let's do bottom. Bottom looks good, because all the other ones are bottom facing as well. I'm not going to have quite the same situation over here. Now over here, I need to figure out where I want to put this. I could do bottom as well, actually. And I may do that. But it does connect a little bit lower. But that'll be fine. Now, the next thing that you do is you take your wire and you right click on the connectors. And you see it says linking from. It's got a coordinate there, and it knows where I started. And then it will know how to connect here when I right click again. And I got the birds on a wire achievement. Now that is a standard power line. And then you just keep connecting this direction. Like so. So now I've got power transmission. So now the power is going from here all the way across the wires into my other system. And this is the input wire where it's taking power from the solar panels, which are all full, and then feeding it down into this leadstone. So now I've got more power production, and I can easily expand that system over there whenever I need to. So that takes care of that situation. And I have a little bit left over in case I want to power something that direction or whichever. Now, the number at the top there, you can see 0 out of 1024 RF. The medium voltage can transmit up to 1024 RF per connection, but the line itself can transmit like 8,000 at a time or something along those lines. The high voltage can do 4,000 at 496 or 4096, I believe it is. So that's why you would go up to the high voltages, because it can transfer a lot of power per connection in one shot. But can't quite do that, so that will be another time, and I'm not producing anywhere near that enough power to even matter. The main reason I did MV here is for a little bit of expandability, so that I don't get stuck and have to redo it again really quickly. Because this one is doing 160 on its own, and if I add more, it might exceed the capacity of a low voltage. So I just wanted to start at medium just to have enough expandability there. Now, one thing you'll notice is that this is still burning, but it will stop because there's no more place to put the power once this finishes. So once this fills up, this engine will stop running. Now, normally, it would not stop running. It would still keep burning and wasting oil and wasting a little bit of energy. But I did add this excitation field limiter. And this is a augment to this dynamo that makes it so that it throttles it to 0 instead of throttling to, I think, 1 to 4 or something like that. So it's not a huge deal if it kept running, but I would rather it be 0 so I don't keep burning creosote when I don't need to. So that's why I built that augment. Just to be a little more efficient. Now, these are still running. This one is not, because I'm out of coal. This one is soon to be out of coal. So I will need to do two things at some point in the near future. Automate the coal input, automate the coal coke output, and I guess the third thing would be to automate gunpowder being put into these things, because I was previously doing that through the sifting setup, and that's obviously no longer going to be possible. So I will have to find an answer to that at some point in the future. But for right now, these things will run for quite some time without me touching it, except for putting in a little bit of gunpowder every once in a while. So I'm okay with that, and I like my new power lines. They look nifty, and I assure you that I will make them look appropriate at some point or another. Right now they look a little bit sketchy in the middle of nowhere, but that's okay. But I am okay with what I've accomplished today. Ooh, interesting. Alright, so let's cover this briefly. I've got sheep, and I've got hobgoblins. They make quite the racket. Hobgoblins are from the Witchery mod, and they are an NPC. They're not hostile. They'll spawn, they'll make noises. I have a cow, a liquid cow with a flag. Alright, sure, why not? These hobgoblins are a way to get a different resource. Imp steel or something along those lines. I'll have to look that up later. But they are tricky to work with, and I have yet to get them to consistently work. So I'll have to figure them out eventually. But for right now, I've got little hobgoblin buddies. They're kind of neat. So on that note, I will take my leave, and I will see you next time.